All right, so during this video, we're going to learn how to make a zero-based budget. In a zero-based budget, that means you account for every penny you make. You may not budget more than your monthly salary because that puts you into debt. You may not budget less than your monthly salary because if you budget less, the money floats away and you could have planned where you actually wanted it to go. So for this project, you are going to get to budget your money into these categories here. I got all of my information from DaveRamsey.com. Financial Peace University is a super cool class that my husband and I have been through and led, and so I have pulled some of my information from there. And so there are some recommended percentages here that I'm going to have you use. And we're going to start at the top with charitable gifts. Now, you have the option to give between 10% and 15% of your income. Again, if this is not what you would do in real life, that is okay. However, giving, when your hand is open to give, you have more room to receive stuff back. So for today, you get to give some money. So you're going to choose a percentage between 10 and 15%. Then you get to save some money because stuff will break. And so you want to have an emergency fund in case your car breaks down or the refrigerator breaks or you have some kind of event, you need some money in savings. Housing, you have to live somewhere. So I'm going to say between 25 to 35% on housing. That would be your rent, the money that, and then maybe some money to mow the lawn, fix the yard, buy some flowers, tomatoes, whatever. That goes into housing. Utilities, that is your electric bill and the water, the natural gas that keeps your house warm. Phone, if you have it, we put our cell phones in the utilities and we put our internet in there. Food, you have to eat. So somewhere between 5 and 15% for food. Transportation, now this is a big one. Everybody, like we're going to start between 10 and 15%. My recommendation is if you want to purchase a car, you're going to want to have your transportation at the top of that. Some of you, if you are making, let's see, I said if you're making $30,300 or less, then if this is you, so if you're one of those that makes this much or less, you can go and cross out this 15%. And you can bump that up to 20% if you would like. Now, what happens though, if you bump this up to 20%, then that has to come out of somewhere else because your total budget has to come up to exactly 100% of what you make. So knowing that if you're making this much or less, you might need more money if you're going to choose to buy a car. In real life, you would hope that you could inherit one or something like that, or that mom and dad would give you one. All right? So some of you get to switch that up. Not everybody, though. Super important. You see, not everybody, just if you're making less than $30,300. Clothing. You need some clothes. So sometimes you're going to get a hole in your jeans. You need to buy a new pair. So here, we're going to choose to budget between 2 and 7%. Medical and health, you're going to budget between 5 and 10%. And personal, 5 and 10%. Personal, for us at our house, that's we have something we call blow money. So my husband and I each get $50, and then if I want to go to Dunn Brothers, I can. If I want to get a candy bar, whatever, that's if I want to eat out for lunch, that's where that money comes from. Personal could be haircuts, other stuff like that. Recreation is your membership to the Y, your cable bill. You might put that under utilities. We put our Netflix under recreation. Things that you do for fun, date night, movie night, that kind of stuff goes in there. So next, you're going to pick out your percentages. Now, when you do it, they all have to equal up to 100% because you have to spend all of your money. So go through and spend your figure out your percentages first. So I'm going to have you, why don't you go do that now? I'm going to pause and come back with just some numbers in there for you. All right, so I've gone through and I've made up the percentages of stuff that I'm going to choose to give for this project. I started off charitable gifts at 12%, that fits in there. Saving, I put up to 10% because I want to save for my emergency fund right now. Housing, I said 25%. Utilities 5%, food 10%, transportation 15%, clothing 2, medical 5, and so on and so forth. Now, what I did, I actually got up to here, and then I stopped and figured out what percent have I already spent, and I had 16 left, so I just split it between these two. Now, for the purpose of a math project, right now we're just coming up with percents. In the real world, you might choose, I might, after I find 10%, realize I might need more money for food. But this is just kind of, I'm dealing with me, I'm not feeding a family for this. So the next thing I do is I look and say, okay, I've got 100% of my income spent. Now I've got to find out what is the dollar amount. So I go back and I figure out what did it say on the last slide, what did it say for your budget per month. And you're going to find that. Once you do, write it down. So I'm going to go through, and mine that I figured out on the last slide was $4,072.78. So this is what my dollar amount should equal up to. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go in charitable gifts. I'm going to find 12% of $4,072.78. So how are you going to do that? Well, you can choose to do it the decimal way, where you would do 0.12, so you move the decimal point over 2 times, then multiply it by your total. Or you could do a line equals a line way, if you want to do that. So then I've got 12 over 100, and my total is 4,072. This is going to go off the screen, but you get it. And when I do that, then I'm going to come up with some number. So I'm going to go through and do that and take it 12%. So when I do that, now you might have to round on these, and that is totally cool. So I got, make sure you're labeling, $488.7336. So I'm going to say in 73 cents. All right. And so then you go to the next one, 10% of that. Well, actually, I can just look. That means my decimal point just comes back 1. So that's going to be $407.20. I'm going to go to 28 cents. All right, 25%. So I'm going to go through and find all of those real quick and come back to you. So you go do that as well. All right, so here I am. I've gone through all of these, and I have come up with all of my dollar amounts. Now, the super important thing that you have to do after that is make sure that your dollar amounts actually add up to your total, because if they don't, then we've got some budget issues. So I'm going to go through and add all of these, and hopefully they will add up to $4,072.78.